Okay, hi guys, hope you're doing well. This is my 5th video on this channel, and this is going to be the one that I swear I'm going to get under 10 minutes, hopefully. So today we have the CCA C10 Pro. CCA seems to be an offshoot of KZ earphones, which I think I might have a KZ over here. Yep, KZ ZAX. So you can see these are virtually identical, bar the faceplate. And what they seem to do is they seem to just produce obscene amounts of models. KZ were one of the first earphone manufacturers, the really cheap Chi-Fi wave that really upped the level of performance that we've been seeing with multi-driver setups on the inside. I believe this one is a 4 dynamic driver, 4 balanced armature and 1 dynamic driver hybrid model. It comes in a pretty standard cardboard box. Pretty much exactly the same box as the KZ box. It's a budget offering. I think it comes under $50, and they are very good for that price. As I say, I don't want to drag this out too long, so let's just go over the things. The cable is new, so I've wrapped this one back up because realistically with some of the earphones I've got lying about, like the Monarchs, I'm not going to do a lot more listening with this past the review. But if you're spending $50 on this, there's far worse ways you can waste your money. The cable is new. It's far improved on the previous generation ones. The previous generations of the KZ and CCA, I believe they had a brown cable. It was absolutely awful. This one is pretty good. I think it's a quad braid into a dual braid, silver cable, decent rubberized splitters, memory wire at the top, springs back into place, and they have, of course, this CCA hooded connector which covers the pins, which is something I quite like. Fixes the problem of having corrosion get down your pins on non-recessed or outward facing 2-pin connectors. You can see the hood just flips over the top and solves that problem. You have a nozzle with a lip on it, which is fantastic considering the Monarch, which costs far more, do not have a lip on it, and that will stop your ear tip from coming off in your ear when you remove them. The faceplate is this metal faceplate. Looks good, feels solid. I like the combination of the metal on both sides here. It gives a little bit more structure. Feels a really solid earphone. It's far smaller than the CCA C12 and C16, which is a far thicker earphone that protrudes further off of the head. This is, I believe, one of the smaller offerings. Yeah, you can see the difference there between the ZAX. It sits really nice. This sits in your tragus, anti-tragus area, locks in with the cable guide going over the ear, no microphonics. Cable's a little bit memory retentive, and it does still tangle pretty badly. Sound wise, you know, these are $50. Good clarity, good bass response. Bass is a little bit loose in comparison with something, say, around $100 or something, or even, you know, the bass response of something around that price that I really like is probably the Final Audio E3000. These are maybe just a little bit lower on the spectrum than that, but they have pretty decent mid-range and highs on them. and pretty decent because of the way the highs are presented. It has a pretty good sort of feeling of soundstage. It's not an out the head soundstage, but there's a good sense of spacing and air on them. The lows will get pretty low, but they're definitely not tuned towards being a bass head earphone. Like they go low enough to accurately represent bass, but they're not going to give you that like ethereal rumble, especially on I think it was the test track that I used, 2 feet quick musical doodles. That low end rumble just, it's not quite there, but it's good. It's got decent speed, good clarity, mid-range slightly warm, no problems with sibilance in the top end. You know, I think the big thing comes when you look at earphones like this is how do they compare to other Western brands? You know, like how are these going to compare to something like the JVC, Sony, in that $50 range? And these are far, far, far better. You know, these perform like an over $100 Sony or something. And I think that's the big value in Chi-Fi stuff in general, Chinese hi-fi or Chinese IEMs, is that they just offer that much more value. You're not going to be able to get these, you're not going to be able to walk into Best Buy and pick up a set of these, not anytime soon, I don't think, but you know, they're available on Amazon, they're available from Linso, they're available from Hi-Fi Go, AliExpress, etc, etc. These are readily available in comparison with, again, something like bringing back the LZ. They're going to be more sort of specialist niche markets, but these are definitely widely available online, and I think that for the money, if there was an option to replace that cable, that'd be a killer set of headphones. Under $100, good solid set of headphones. I'm not going to get into comparing it with the ZAX and ASF, C16 and so on. They're all very similar, just slight refinements in tuning and the way they present. My advice, if you're choosing between KZ and CCA headphones, is to just look for the one that's going to fit your tuning preferences the best. Take a look at the graph and go from there, because in terms of detail retrieval and other promising characteristics of the sound, you're not going to get that much variance. You know, you're going to get a little bit more bass, you might get a little bit worse treble, you might get better treble, you might get, you know, a more recessed mid-range. These slightly elevated in the lows, slightly elevated in the highs, mid-range still good, warm, clear, slightly warm, clear, and finally pairing. This is overkill in a big way. Straight out the phone, these are going to sound good, ample power, no problem. So another good set of headphones from CCA. Nothing ground shaking in comparison with what they already have on the market, but another good solid addition, excellent price point, and well recommended. So thank you for watching, guys, and I'll bring you the next review soon.